Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Semen Retention Talk. And find this. I am Johnnathan White. As always, I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. So, give me 1 second here. Light up the old Palo Santo. Hey, what's up? Thanks for joining. How's everybody doing? Stuck at home? Hashtag quarantine. All right. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can use sexual energy to create abundance in your life. And looks like I might be having some issues with my YouTube. No, we're good. Okay. So sexual energy and abundance, what I'm going to be getting into. I just had a great couple weeks. I was traveling and yeah, best time to travel, right? I was heading to LA when shit was going down, and had a little change of plans. Decided to get out of LA, went to Arizona, spent some time in Sedona, which is probably my favorite place in the world. Absolutely incredible place. You know, the energy vortex is there. So I spent last week, just hiking around, having adventures, meeting cool people. While the rest of the world was like in this panic, I was just in nature enjoying myself. So first of all, it's an important time to stay centered, stay calm, stay relaxed. Everything's going to be fine. In spite of what is being hammered, in spite of what you're being hammered with on the news every day, everything's going to be just fine. It's really not a big deal. So, relax, guys. It's an important time, though, to have a daily practice, to have something you're doing to keep your attention within your body, keep your attention in the present moment, keep your energy centered, stay aligned. And I'll give you guys some tools in this video as well. But really, it's an incredible transformational time. There's a lot of energy in the world right now, and you can ride those waves and stay balanced. So all right, some questions already. I'll get to questions at the end of this, but first I want to get into the topic of this live, which is manifesting abundance with sexual energy. So sexual energy is our creative energy. We all came from sexual energy. We were all created from an orgasm. And so sexual energy has this quality of creativity, the ability to manifest, to bring things into being. And because we've lost our connection with sexuality, it's like everything else on other levels, we're so advanced. Technologically we're advanced, intellectually we're quite advanced, but sexually we're still in the Stone Age, so to speak. It's still this primal level of operation, most people, in the way they approach sexuality. No understanding of what sexual energy really is and how you can use it. And so I've talked about this a lot, but basically, sexual energy has this quality of amplifying things, expanding things. When you feel aroused, your body expands, it changes. You feel your energy expand. And sorry, I lost my train of thought here. It expands everything. Like the sperm, right, grows to become an entire human body. That's the expansive power of sexual energy. And it bonds things together. It's a glue. It's a psychic super glue. Sexual energy bonds you to thoughts, to feelings, bonds you to, watching porn. It can bond you to negative things, or it can bond you to beautiful, harmonious relationships. So you can use those qualities of sexual energy to your advantage to bring whatever it is you want into your life. Whether that's more money, whether that's spiritual fulfillment, whether that's beautiful relationship. You can use this magnetic amplification power of sexual energy to create things for yourself in your life. So how do we do this, right? That's the question. For men, it's especially important to note that most guys get in the habit of constantly ejaculating, constantly depleting their life force into the world around them. When a man ejaculates, semen is the essence of the man's body. It takes a lot of resources to be creating the semen, and it represents this charge of energy, right? Well, when you're constantly ejaculating, you're losing your life force, and you're going to be depleted. Basically, you don't have anything to create with. Men who constantly ejaculate, they're often in a state of low testosterone. They're in a state of depletion, and they don't have an abundant source of this creative sexual energy. So the first step for men is to stop constantly ejaculating, but the next step is to learn how to take the sex drive and turn it into, to channel it into the things you want to accomplish, But that's the first thing, is you have to be clear about what it is that you want, right? And so the first step is cultivate your sexual energy, harness it, stop ejaculating frequently, move it into the higher centers of the body. And I'll give you guys a technique to do this right now. So, okay, I see lots of questions again. I will get into the questions at the end of this. So stick around. How to transmute your sexual energy? I'll give you guys a very simple practice. So this works for men or women. I know there's probably some women watching too. So as you inhale, feel you're breathing into, men breathing into your testicles, women breathing into your ovaries. So you inhale, breathing into there. Exhale. So you feel like your genitals are expanding as you inhale. They're condensing as you exhale. So you feel like you're breathing with your genitals. So you do that for a little bit. And then you can start to direct it to other areas in the body. So you can breathe it up into your belly, breathe it up into your head, wherever you want to bring the energy, bring it to your brain, bring it to your organs. So the way you do this is you inhale, gently contract your pelvic floor muscle, and as you use your awareness, guide it somewhere in the body. So for example, you can guide it up the spine to the brain. So you inhale up from the genitals, up the spine to the brain. So inhaling up and exhale. So that's a very simple technique for moving sexual energy throughout your body. And then how do we get to manifesting the things we want? Now, there's many levels to this, and I can't get too into depth into it right now, but I'll give you a very practical way to get started with this. So first of all, again, you're cultivating your sexual energy. You get this charge built up. So as a man, you start retaining your semen. And then once you have this sexual energy built up, again, you're using this practice I just showed you to move it through the body. Now your body's saturated with sexual energy. And then you do a little practice where you basically focus on what it is you want to manifest in your life. So find some time. So take a moment and just, what you do is just sit quietly, get into a meditative state. And then what is it that you want to bring into your life? Is it you want more money? You want to bring in a certain career, something like that, a relationship? What you do is you sit quietly and you focus on that thing and feel that you've already accomplished it. So feel that extremely tangibly. How would you feel emotionally if, let's say you're trying to manifest money? How would you feel if you just received $1 million? Feel that excitement, that gratitude. The energy of gratitude is very important for bringing things into your reality. So you just visualize what it is you want to manifest as tangibly as possible. That's it. Just take a few minutes every day and do that. And when you're at the same time cultivating your sexual energy drive, like, hey, I feel like I should do this one certain thing, so you need to follow that intuition, which will always guide you to where you need to be to manifest what you want in your life. So use that wisely. It's a great tool. All right, now I'm going to answer some questions. There's a lot of questions coming in, so feel free to send in your questions now. Let's see here. Everybody enjoying themselves in quarantine though? It's funny. I've been going on hikes the past few days, and it's like there's way more people outside now. Because it's like everyone's stuck at home, so it's like, well, we might as well go outside and enjoy ourselves. It's kind of amazing, everyone's actually like spending time in nature. It's like we're all kind of in this rest mode. Like, okay, stuck at home, nowhere to go. We might as well it's just kind of this quietness and the solitude in the world, which I think is a great kind of break to have, So it's interesting. All right, so questions. Where do I think this movement will be in 10 years? I'm guessing you're talking about like semen retention, conscious sexuality, nofap kind of stuff. I think it's going to completely blow up. I think this stuff can become quite normal, actually. You know what I mean? Because this is the future of sex. It's the past, it's the ancient past, and it's the future of sex, because this is so much more fulfilling to engage in sex consciously, to engage in sex where you're deeply connecting with your partner, deeply opening up your body. to experience full body orgasms, spiritual orgasms, consciously harnessing your sexual energy. Instead of like having most people, it's like 5 to 10 minutes of completely unconscious sex, so they just eject their energy. It's quite a contrast to have conscious sexual energy where you're building up this energy, circulating throughout your body and exchanging it. So I think things are going to really take off in the next 10 years. What you feel about testicle breathing? Testicle breathing is great practice. I teach it myself. I teach it in my course. I teach a certain version of it, and I do it myself quite frequently. It's a great practice. Scientific evidence for this sounds like nonsense. I'm not sure exactly what aspect you're talking about, but there's a lot of scientific evidence supporting that semen retention is a very beneficial practice. I can't get too deep into it right now, but I've made several YouTube videos about the science of semen retention. You can check those out. Basically, there was a study that showed that men's testosterone boosts after 7 days without ejaculating. Also, your hormone levels change after ejaculating. Prolactin is released, testosterone goes down. So there is some science on this. Just finished my first Qigong practice in a great space watching this right now. That's awesome, brother. Qigong is an incredible practice. I do it every day. I've been doing it every day for like 6 years, and it's just totally changed my life. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Thoughts on veganism? Is it for anyone, everyone? I tried the vegan diet, and I felt very deficient. I felt my sex drive like completely plummeted. You have to be kind of careful because everyone's genetics is different. Their blood, the hemoglobin in the blood, some people simply can't properly absorb and digest nutrients from plants solely. Some people almost need to eat meat. Some types of people, so it's really like you need to follow your own body. If you're going on a completely scientific, theoretical approach to diet, you may run into trouble. You have to learn to listen to your body, and that's kind of been my approach. But, if do you like Avatar: The Last Airbender? I watched some of that. It's pretty cool. Energy and cultivation. Okay, so someone made the point about thousands of vegans who ended up getting sick with digestion, infertility, fatigue, and are now anti-vegan. So here's the thing. Yeah, there's no single diet that works for everyone. It's just proving my point I said. Some people thrive on the vegan diet. Some people like literally have complete terrible health issues from, changing their diet extremely. So again, there's no single diet that works for everyone. You have to learn to listen to your body. What is my opinion on the nature of reality? It's like I can't get too deep into this, but basically, it's kind of like, we're in a matrix, we're in a simulation. You know what I mean? We could say nothing is real. Our bodies are not solid. We're 99.999% empty space, and even the particles we're made of, atoms, aren't actually fixed particles. Atoms actually they change between being fixed particles and being waves of light. Quantum physics has validated this. So basically it means nothing is fixed. Everything, we're just perceiving these fields of energy and translating them as our bodies see fit, right? And our beliefs really shape anything. So I'm not going to get too deep into this rabbit hole right now, but I think the nature of reality is whatever you want to make of it. Don't limit yourself. That's what I would say. Can the desire for hot, sexy, dirty, horny sex be fulfilled during non-ejaculatory sex? Yeah, certainly. But the thing is that when you're practicing semen retention, you're never going to completely lose your desire. That's the whole thing, is like sex energy is, it's desire. You have to learn to be able to hold on to desire. So many men cannot hold arousal. They can't hold desire. They have to literally shoot it out of their body. And that's the thing, is you need to create enough space in your body so that you can hold that arousal, hold that desire comfortably, be able to ground it, and that's really where the power comes from in semen retention. Is you constantly have this atomic firepower of semen energy built up. And it's just a key of learning to balance it. That's why I teach so many foundational practices to stay balanced while practicing semen retention in my 6-week course. Okay, what age should people prescribe sexual mastery? More like Qigong and etc. Because I have a daughter, but I don't know what age I should teach her these things, and a little brother. That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. Personally, I wish I had started learning these things in my early teens, because it would have saved me a great deal of frustration and imbalance. I think teenagers would be a great time to start learning, Qigong, self-mastery practices, maybe learn the true nature of sexuality and what's possible with it. Again, it would have saved me years and years of imbalance, frustration, if I had learned these things in my teenage years. How do you get your partner interested in what you teach? For me, it was like, this is what I do. I didn't tell my partner right away until we were kind of getting intimate. And I was like, hey, I don't typically ejaculate during sex. I practice this, sexual cultivation things. And, she was open to it. So it's really about having a partner who is open to these things, and, just kind of slowly introduce it to them. And the thing is like, these practices, when you master them, are fairly transparent. Like, they may not know that you're even doing anything differently, other than, you're lasting during sex for a very extended periods of time. So, just communication is always important. Do you have methods for grounding the energy and closing the practice? Yes. I'm not sure in what context you're talking about, probably sexually. So there's a practice where you transmute the arousal, bring it. There's various areas of the body you can bring it to, but you transmute the arousal, store it in the body, and then you're no longer aroused, at least not fully aroused, and you can ground that energy. I teach all these things in my course. What to do whenever I feel like masturbation? Well, masturbation is not inherently a bad thing. It's only if you're ejaculating every time you masturbate that it's draining your energy. But if you're, trying to quit that, you need new things to occupy yourself with, basically. I talk about this all the time. You need an action plan. So that you're like, okay, this is the time when I would usually, masturbate and ejaculate. But instead of that, I'm going to go to the gym and work out, or I'm going to study about something that I'm interested in learning, or I'm going to go hang out with some friends. So you need an action plan of something you're going to do instead of ejaculating, basically. Okay, what do you say about porn? I think porn is it's a huge problem in this world for men especially. Leads to dopamine addiction, or dopamine imbalances, leads to porn addiction. It completely distorts your view of sexuality, your view of your own body. So I think that porn in general for most people is just very unbalancing. Okay, transmutation in women, good question. So as men lose sexual energy, they lose their energy through ejaculation. Women lose it through excessive menstruation. So, the menstrual cycle for a woman, it's kind of like this psychic cleansing, so if you have a lot of stress, a lot of negative emotions kind of built up, women tend to store things in their womb space, and so having a practice where you clear these things out will make your menstrual cycle significantly less draining, so you don't lose so much energy. And women can also, breathe from the yoni, breathe from the ovaries up to the rest of the body to move that sexual energy upward in the body. It's very, very similar. The practice is almost exactly the same for men. I actually made a women's course with my partner, if you're interested in that. What would make your partner have more sexual energy? It's kind of their own, you can't make your partner have more sexual energy, but if they're not very sexual, it could be hormones, could be improper diet, lack of exercise. You could get them practicing yoga, breath work, qigong, eating foods, taking certain herbs to boost their sexual energy. Do you have payment plans for your course? Wish I could join, but my job is not giving enough to the current situation. Yes, I'll have some flexible payment plans for my course on the next launch, which is coming very soon. Okay, scrolling through the questions. Let's see. And apologies if I missed anyone's questions. I just try, I can't answer everybody's question in every session. So I try to answer the ones that are most relevant for everyone. When you became good at retention during sex, was there a part of you that would think, when should we finish? A little bit, and I would say it always kind of naturally comes to a close. It's like, okay, I feel like I'm satisfied, my partner is satisfied, and just kind of naturally comes to a close. It's never been a big issue. My partner and I often have sex in the middle of the night while asleep. Sometimes it's more often than when we are awake, and every time it is the most connected we feel. Any idea why this might be? Well, when you're sleeping, you're in parasympathetic mode. It's often the only time people have where they don't feel like stressed and tense, in this overstimulated world. So your body's like men always have erections during that. Well, at least if they're healthy, they do, because your body's in parasympathetic mode. It's charged up, and it's the best time to have sex. So that's why you have such a high sex drive when you wake up in the morning or during the middle of the night as you're experiencing. So there's nothing abnormal about it. Can I manifest abundance while making my wife orgasm? Yeah, you definitely can. In fact, you can, having sex with her and you're both sharing orgasms together is going to give you more sexual energy to create with, if you can learn to manage your own ejaculation, have non-ejaculatory orgasms. But you create this powerful unison energy when you're making love with someone. I've never breathed with my nuts before. I got my homie here with me too. Awesome, brother. Hope you guys were breathing into those balls together. Recommended sources to learn Qigong. Good question. I have several Qigong videos on my YouTube video, and I teach Qigong in depth in my 6-week course. As far as other people teaching Qigong, it's kind of like there's a lot of people teaching it, but it's not all quality. A lot of it's just physical movement without any actual energetics of it. So I studied a lot with Michael Wynn. It's a great kind of foundation into Qigong, studying with him. Montauk Chi is another popular one. Bruce Francis, he teaches some great stuff. Lam Cam Chuen, his book, The Way of Energy, was the first book I read on Qigong. Really, really great resource. Is there any specific techniques to master orgasms without ejaculation that you prefer? Basically, just using the breath, like being able to relax, use the breath to move the arousal throughout the body. Of course, there's internal mechanics as well, like guiding the energy, but it becomes as simple as breathing and being aware of what's happening in your body. And obviously, it takes some practice. Okay, if you're just retaining and not doing any Qigong or sexual Kung Fu practices, do you still get a good amount of benefits? Good question. Yeah, you'll still get benefits. But this is where you can run into issues like becoming imbalanced. When you're not transmitting the energy, it just kind of builds up and may just get stuck. You feel angry, irritable, or premature ejaculation. That's a big one for guys who are retaining semen but not transmitting the energy. So basically, their balls become like a pressure cooker. You're like a loaded gun when you go to have sex because you have all this energy built up down there that you haven't moved throughout the body. So I think it's in my opinion, it's essential to be doing practices if you're doing semen retention, but it's your choice. What do you do to show compassion to others? I mean, just be a be a decent human being. Be kind. Don't be an asshole. Basically, it's not that hard. Open your heart, feel appreciation, understand that we're all here. We're all basically the same. You know what I mean? It's like the in Lakesh, I think it's a Mayan term. It basically means I am another you. We're all sort of fractals of the same program. You know what I mean? So we're all connected. So there's no reason to just be an asshole to everyone. That's it's just really not that hard. Okay, what's the number one most important exercise for mastering ejaculatory course? Again, I would say deep belly breathing. Because when you can stay calm, keep your breath under control, keep your belly and your pelvic floor relaxed during sex, then you can hold a high level of arousal, experience very high levels of pleasure without ejaculating. Okay, what are some things to do when I feel the urge to release? Mostly at nighttime. I'm single and I get lonely, which is a trigger for me. So again, you need something else to do to kind of move that energy. Meditation, qigong, these are huge. Move that energy. Do the testicle breathing practice. I showed you a basic version of that at the beginning of this video. Take a cold shower. Do something creative. Make some art. Make some poetry. Write some music. Whatever. So you need to put that sexual energy into something else. That's the key to practicing retention. Is that energy has to be going somewhere. Energy needs to move or get stuck, and you'll feel like you need to ejaculate like you're experiencing. Is there a way to consciously raise your sexual energy at will to attract females? Again, basically the practice I showed you at the beginning of this, and it gets more advanced. I teach more advanced versions in my course of how to really cultivate that magnetic sexual energy. But basically, just by moving the sexual energy throughout your body, you start to radiate that into the world around you. And it's not like you're going to automatically attract everyone. It doesn't really work like that. But you will be significantly more attractive with this radiant sexual energy. Recently, I've noticed that it's been taking me a long time to ejaculate. Do you have any idea what could be causing that? There can be very many causes of delayed ejaculation. If you're on, pharmaceutical drugs, that's a major cause often, or maybe you're not getting enough sleep, your body's stressed, things like that. There's a lot of factors. Increasing sensitivity in the penis. You can do Kegels, squeezing your pelvic floor muscles. That will increase your sensitivity during sex. And if if you're wanting to be able to ejaculate quicker, that will make it happen for sure. Your thoughts on longevity and semen retention? I mean, I think semen retention boosts longevity. And there's a scientific study which may prove this. And I talked about this in one of my videos, but basically they took a group of worms called nematodes. These worms are sexually prolific, and they altered the worm. Well, they took three different groups of the worms. One group had sex as normal. They lived about 7 days. The other group were separated, so they couldn't have sex. They lived about 10 days. And the third group, they were altered so they couldn't keep producing semen, but they had sex as normal. They lived like 14 days. So this shows that, if this is the same for humans, it would mean that retaining your semen makes you last longer, but retaining your semen and being sexually active makes you live even longer, right? And it makes sense because it's like, if you garden, you notice that plants, when they go to seed, they pretty much dry up and become brittle. They don't live as long. They don't do as well. So when you retain your seed, just like the plant and animal kingdom, you become more vital for longer. And you don't dry up the sexual hormones in your body. That's one of the main causes of aging. Things like Alzheimer's is lack of sexual hormones in the brain. So by retaining your semen and staying sexually active, you stay young and juicy, basically. Okay, if I don't ejaculate, she gets upset. She wants sex every night, and I'm finding this to be very frustrating. Again, this is kind of communication, it's boundaries, it's what are your priorities. It is a common thing where women feel like they've been cheated or something if they're not receiving the man's ejaculation, because it's kind of this tangible sign for women, like, oh, I pleased him. Here's this semen. And so again, communication is key here. Tell her, and don't make it about you. Don't say like, nope, I can't ejaculate because I need this energy. You can say like, hey, I'm practicing this lifestyle where I'm no longer ejaculating during sex because then I have more energy, which I can share with you. I have more love to give to you. I have more desire for you, So just to help her see how it can tie into the relationship and your cultivation together. So what's your thoughts on celibacy for certain spiritual practices? I don't think celibacy is a good idea unless it's something that arises spontaneously. A lot of people try to force themselves into celibacy, and it's like trying to shove a spring into a closet. You know what I mean? It's like the second you move it, you lose your grip on it, it shoots out. That's how our sex drive is. So if you're like forcefully being celibate, we've seen a lot of this in the Catholic Church, right? It just doesn't work out very well for most people. So I think celibacy can kind of unfold naturally if you're, doing practices transmuting your sexual energy to where you naturally don't have the desire to have sex, which can certainly happen. So that's the best approach if you're going to do that, in my opinion. What do you recommend 23-year-old guy to focus more on? It depends. What do you want to accomplish in your life? What are your priorities? Okay, here's some conspiracy theory stuff. Don't you think porn is an Illuminati, homosexual mind control beta program, and they're using women as sex slaves? Have you heard of Project Monarch? It's definitely a control system. The whole porn system. Human trafficking really ties into it. It's when you get into the rabbit hole of how massive a scale human trafficking is happening on this planet, it's pretty fucked up. So it's definitely a mind control sort of thing. It's controlling men, right? How many men in this world are addicted to porn? Like 1 in 10, or probably more than that. And these men are slaves to their sex drives. They're slaves to these internet images. So, that's a whole nother topic. I've talked about that in some other videos, but yeah. Okay, so here's a question. I'm new to this, and when I hold in my ejaculation the first time, I end up pre-ejaculating much faster the second time, like a loaded gun. So I talked about this a little bit, how a lot of guys practicing retention, again, it becomes like a loaded gun. So you need to learn how to move that sexual energy throughout the body. Meditate, work on the microcosmic orbit, testicle breathing, doing qigong to open up the pathways of the body so that you can keep moving this sexual energy upwards so that it doesn't get stuck down here in the genitals. How do I get my porn addicted boyfriend to have a more open-minded view of what sex is and the potential for connection it could provide us? He sees sex as penetration and ejaculation. Unfortunately, this is, the porn conditioned man. And, you can talk to him about this, share with him some resources, share with him the dangers of porn addiction. But ultimately, he's his own person, you're your own person. And, you have to draw the line at where your boundaries are and how willing you're committed to someone who may or may not change for you. Am I right? So, that's kind of the thing, is you can't always change people, but you can, talk to him about it. And if he's not open to it, then, you have to decide whether or not you want to stay with someone who's in that low vibrational state of sex or not. Are you vegan? No, I'm not vegan. We talked about this earlier. I've tried vegan diet. It just didn't work very well for me. Do you practice sexual rituals? How do you create manifestation through sex energy? What are some of your techniques? What have you manifested? I was talking about this earlier on the video, but basically, yes, I've manifested a lot with sexual energy. I would say, everything I have in my life right now, I've manifested with sexual energy. And so for me, it's having a practice. It's moving that sexual energy throughout the body. So it's kind of the mechanics of it, right? Saturating the body, charging yourself up by transmuting this lower energy into something higher, a higher octave of sexual expression. And then having this laser-like focus on what I want to bring into my life, and being able to be in that feeling of having already received it, that gratitude, which is the key to manifestation. So that's kind of been my approach to it, and it's worked very well. And of course, doing the work as well. Like, you can't just expect everything to come to you. You have to act on your inspiration as it comes, when you're manifesting as well. Been focusing solely on myself for about 6 months. This is the longest I've gone without sex since starting. How do I knock off the rust and get a healthy jump back into it? I think I'm nervous. I went through a very long period of being single, not having sex, where I was just doing my practice, learning how to work with sexual energy. And for me, it was quite effortless once I got back into the ring, so to speak. I had great control of my sexual energy. So really, if you have a daily practice, you're cultivating your sexual energy, moving it throughout your body, meditating, moving energy. And then once you connect with someone, it will be quite effortless and spontaneous. What does your diet mainly focus on? I eat I don't have like an in the box diet, like, oh, I'm vegan, oh, I'm carnivore, I'm keto. I've tried all these things. I haven't tried carnivore diet, but I just kind of listen to my body. Like, what do I need? A lot of healthy fats. So I eat like avocados, coconut oil, hemp oil, butter. I love grass-fed butter. I eat eggs in the morning. Great protein. I try to eat a lot of vegetables, some fruits as well. My body does well when I'm eating some fruits. Chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. I make some like power protein smoothie, and things like that. I do eat a little bit of meat as well. I only eat like free range quality animal products. Okay, what didn't work with veganism for you? All right, well, I talked about this earlier, but basically I did a lot of research. I've been into nutrition for many, many years, and I did the vegan thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. I took all the supplements I was supposed to take. I did everything, and my sex drive plummeted. And it just, again, I just didn't have the energy that I want to have. And it's the only time in my life I felt like that. And again, the point here that I'm making is that there's no single diet that works for everyone. There's a lot of people who went vegan, they tried to do it right, and they still had like major health issues and things like that. Our blood is different. The hemoglobin in our blood, not everyone's blood hemoglobin can handle solely eating plant products. Like, it's just, it is what it is. There's no one size diet for everyone, in my opinion and experience. So it's about learning to listen to your body and doing what works best for you. What advice would you give a virgin who's having intercourse for the first time and wants to satisfy their partner? What techniques would you use? Well, I mean, the first time you have sex, don't worry too much about technique. Just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably not going to be, the greatest performance of your life the first time. So just don't worry about it. Just like be connected to your partner. Just have fun, and just allow yourself to enjoy it. Breathe deeply. Focus on your breath during sex, but don't worry too much about your first time. I did raw vegan, and I lost like 20 pounds. I was like deathly skinny, and it was not good for me. Like I can't do high fruit, low fat diet. Like I turn into a beanpole basically, and my sex drive was like gone. But some people do really well on it, you know. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions and jump off of here. Men who engage in oral and anal sex with women are still doing homosexual sex, so it's programming. I strongly disagree with that. Oral sex does not make you a homosexual. Like it definitely does not. Or else pretty much every man on the planet is a homosexual. Are you ever going to have a retreat in North Carolina? I would definitely love to. I was going to plan some retreats for the summer, but I have to wait until things kind of go back to normal, whatever normal is after all this stuff clears up. But definitely hope to be doing more retreats soon. What did you major in to have so much knowledge? I never went to college. I could say I'm sort of self-educated, but I seek out teachers. I find teachers, I study with them, I read books, I educate myself constantly. We have all the tools available to us to be informed about whatever we want to be, What books do you recommend? A great starting point for a lot of the sexual practice is Taoist Secrets of Love, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy by Montauk Chia and Michael Wynn. It's a great book. Also, Tao of Sexology by Stephen Chang. Those are some great books on the sexual practices. Hey, what's up, Adam? Sexual Kung Fu will change every man's life for the better. Okay, does Qigong require Kegels and reverse Kegels to circulate the energy? No, definitely not. Some Qigong forms incorporate this, but you don't need any physical engagement to move energy. Energy is energy. It's separate from the physical. So physical engagements can help you to tune into the subtle energy, but in general, tension blocks the flow of energy in the body. So it's about just getting into the energetics instead of focusing on physical things. Okay, wanted to talk about the upcoming course, see if I'm still doing it with everything. Yes, I'm still launching my course in April. So stay tuned. I'll be talking more about that. And yeah, I'll have payment plans definitely to make it flexible for you guys. Okay, good fruits, vegetables, or herbs one can use to make natural Viagra. I actually made a YouTube video on this. I'm going to be releasing it in the next week or so about better erections, basically. But boosting sex drive, horny goat weed, goji berries, citrulline and arginine. These improve your nitric oxide production in the body. Zinc, you need plenty of zinc. And what else? Maca root. Those are some great ones for getting a strong boost of sexual energy. Actually, you could say that yohimbe is nature's Viagra, but it's way too overstimulating for me. It's like a very strong stimulant, but it really, really boosts your sexual desire. I was in your course. Wudong Microcosmic Orbit is amazing. Hey, thanks, Kashish. Hope I'm saying your name right. It was great having you in the course. Glad you enjoyed it. And that is a very powerful practice. So I teach a special version of the Microcosmic Orbit practice in my 6-week course, which I don't teach anywhere else. It's a very, very powerful method. That's what he's talking about. Is yoga ideal for removing energetic blocks in the body? It depends. In my experience, yoga wasn't the most effective thing for removing energy blocks. Like it's great for opening up, improving your flexibility, improving circulation, has a lot of physical benefits, but yoga's been kind of watered down to be very physical emphasized, and you don't usually get deep into the energetics of it. That's why I really got into qigong after, I went deep into yoga. I got into qigong because it's direct working with the energy, clearing blockages, moving things. And so that's why I teach a lot of qigong as a foundation for sexual kung fu. What vegan foods are best for men? Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are amazing. Maca root. What else? Avocados, good fats. Chia seeds, hemp seeds. Those are great power plant. Moringa leaf is amazing. I have it every day. When raising your breath up, do you contract the PC muscles or keep them relaxed? Should they be relaxed all the time to last longer in bed? Tips on lasting longer in bed. So this is a big thing. It depends. There's different contexts of when to squeeze your PC muscle and when to leave it relaxed in bed. And I get in depth into this in my course. But basically, excessively squeezing the PC muscle during sex makes most guys ejaculate quicker. And if you're like only doing Kegels all the time, you're not doing counter exercises, then you're probably going to cause distortions in your pelvic floor, hypertension, which also causes premature ejaculation. So you got to be careful the way you're doing Kegels. So in general, during sex, I keep my pelvic floor completely relaxed because that has helped me last much, much longer in bed. All right, guys, I got to jump off of here. All right, I'll do 2 more questions. Do you have to hit a bong of weed to do qigong? No, I don't recommend doing that. Actually, qigong gets you high naturally. Weed has a lot of side effects. I was a daily weed smoker for many years, and qigong helped me kick that habit and get something that got me higher with less side effects, basically, with no side effects actually. Do you think sexual kung fu will help a virgin have amazing multiple orgasms, even though they've never done so? I mean, it can help, but it depends how open they are. There's a lot of factors in their own body as well. It depends how open to that they are. When is your next course? It's in April. I'll be announcing it quickly in the next little while, so stay tuned. Is intermittent fasting good every day or every other day? I've been doing it every day for several months now, and I've been having great results with it. Is your course open so I can? Okay, the course is not open yet. It is opening very soon in April. And again, I will let you guys know. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week, same time. Stay cool out there, stay calm, breathe, have fun. Everything's going to be just fine. All right, I'll see you guys.